Okay, so I told you about the last video on your kata that all of these moves actually represent something. They represent some sort of attack, some sort of self-defense, or some sort of motion that I can do to defend myself. So, with that being said, we tell the students that there are 3 different types of what we call bunkai. Bunkai literally means to break down, but in this sense, we use it as the word application or apply, right? So there's 3 different types of these applications, okay? The first type is very literal, right? So for example, the beginning of the kata, I turn to my left, I do a down block, and then I step up and punch. So I have to apply that motion just like the kata. So, and this is why we started off like this, just so the students can get an idea as to what they're imagining when they're doing their kata or their form. So I'm imagining somebody is right over here, look like this, they're gonna do a front kick, they notice I blocked their kick, so they're gonna get scared, step back, and I punch them. I realize that's not very practical, it's kind of funny actually, but we help the students understand it. Then I'm gonna show you the other 2 versions. So, somebody comes to kick me, maybe toward my lower rib. I step out, I block their kick, and I immediately attack with a punch. Okay, that's the type number 1. Type 2 is I'm still sticking to the kata, but I can make it a little more practical. So for example, if somebody's about to kick me, there's no way that I'm not looking at them. Like, I'm looking at you, right? But the kata tells me not to. So that's where I'm like, okay. So in type 2, I'm looking at this person and this person comes to kick. Also, this person isn't going to step back just because I blocked their kick. They're coming to kick and they're coming to hit me. So I need to learn how to block and get out of the way, right? So instead of me doing this turn, block, step up, punch, when they kick, I want to block to the outside of their body. And this is what I mean. If this was my punch or my leg, the closer to my center mass is the inside, this is the outside, right? So basically, let's say you're defending against me and I kick and you just blocked. You want to be on this side of my body, not on this side. This is the outside, this is the inside, okay? So you just blocked my kick, go ahead, block it, boom, very good. You just did your down block and now you're on this side of my body. Now you're able to punch me to my head, to my ribs, maybe to the back of the head, wherever, okay? So now that we've used that imagination, right, they're gonna go ahead, they kick, okay? They go to the outside of the body, a down block, and instead of me stepping up and punching and running into them, I block the kick, and then I punch to the face, okay? Still not very practical, but definitely more practical than the first type. Type number 3 is all up to you. We call that oyo. In Japanese, the literal translation is your world. In other words, it is your very own creation. How do you see this motion being applied? How do you see these body mechanics being applied? So for example, in the beginning of the kata, I notice that my body turns. I turn and I throw something out of the way. So maybe it's not saying that I'm facing the side, but maybe I can still turn and be able to use that body mechanic of creating some torque within my core. The other thing that this kata is telling me about is I'm swinging my arm, right? Now we can be very literal and say I'm doing a down block. For me, I'm thinking about kind of like the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. And I'm thinking, well, my arm's just swinging. Most people don't kick in a street fight. Most people like to swing punches or push you. So I'm thinking of this level being attacked at me, my shoulders and my face. It's this level that they're attacking. So I'm not going to be blocking down here, I'm actually going to be blocking up here, okay? So instead of them throwing a kick, maybe they're throwing a jab, all right? So maybe they're right here and they're throwing like a jab and a cross or something. So from here, they throw that jab, I step out of the way, I turn my body, pushing my arm, and as I push my arm, I'm actually pushing against their elbow, then I could come in and hit. So as you can see, that motion, boom, boom, doesn't look too much like the kata of this, but it applies its meaning, if that makes sense, okay? So that's your first bunkai that you can practice. You can practice all three types of this beginning movement. Type 1, very literal. Type 2, a little more practical, but still looks like the kata. Type 3, you can make up whatever the heck you want as long as it makes sense according to the body mechanics, okay? Like for example, this is the motion, and all of a sudden you like just got on your butt and you threw them over your head. Like that's not in the kata, you know, so like wait for that, you know, be patient for that type of motion, okay? All right, the other thing is, anytime you turn around in a kata like this, boom, or this motion, boom, or this motion, anytime I'm turning and spinning around, I'm imagining throwing somebody, okay? So I'm gonna leave it at that until I could get a partner to show you how to do this at home. All right, thanks guys.